I've been playing EA Respawn's Jedi Survivor. I mean, it's not really a surprise. I said it last week, but yeah, this game basically it picks up a little bit after the first game. You're back as Cal, and it kind of it yeah, it does what Sam was saying, where it's like um you come back and you basically have your full suite of powers. You're like powered down a bit. You have
Yeah.
to relearn a bunch of skills, but for the most part, you've got your double jump. You've got your most of your traversal skills as like baseline.
I think you had a double-bladed lightsaber in the first game by the end.
Yeah,
I think is
you
that
have you
that's
had
all,
three. You had the single, you had the two, and you had the double
the
ender.
Darth Mauler.
Um, and I think I guess yeah, this game sort of uses that as a starting point, and then goes off and just runs with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I've really enjoyed this game. It feels like they're angling for their own kind of God of War,
Right.
where
Okay.
it's all they're telling like a more mature story. They focus very much on the characters, and it's. I guess I was really worried starting off playing this that it was going to be like like a Star Wars story TM where it's like there's a bad guy, he's being bad,
Yeah.
and you have to stop him, right?
We don't like
But it
bad guys.
yes, yeah, he's got a red lightsaber and he's doing bad stuff, and you should probably put a stop to him. Um, but it feels like I don't know if this is like some drive from Disney. I imagine it is, but it's like it seems to be telling everyone is telling a lot more like grounded stories so that um they're leaving the doors open for these people to like cross paths at some point. You know what I mean? And this feels the same way where it's telling a like there's stakes to this story,
Yeah.
but it feels like a very grounded story where it's not like oh, we need to kill Darth Vader or he's going to destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing like that. It's like we're telling a little personal story
It's hard to tie
that
those
focuses
things.
on these.
It's hard to
Go
tie
on.
those things back in because it's always like, why did that character never talk about this if this is like such a big thing? Like say
Yeah.
this person runs, Cal
Yeah.
Kestis runs into, I don't know, Darth Maul or some shit, and they have a big epic fight, and then big explosions. But it's like, why has this never been spoken about out like ever?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to because it's not like mainline. It is canon, obviously, but it's not movie important.
It has
right?
to like awkwardly fit around these two movies that were set that were created a long time ago and the creator had no idea it would have this kind of like longevity, right? So now that when they tell a story, it does kind of have a bit of that. Like the story starts on Coruscant, which is like it's like the hub, and there's like you pulling off this like ridiculous heist, and there's like wanted posters. You're like number one most wanted person. It's like it is weird nobody ever mentions this guy. He's kind of prolific by the end of this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you do your little heist on Coruscant. It goes, I guess I'm not going to spoil the story. I'm going to do like minor mechanical spoilers and sort of set up some stuff.
Yeah, what is all I ask, just not to spoil the story, but what is like the main driving force of this game?
It's kind of like it feels like a middle story. It feels like a middle game of a trilogy.
Okay. Yeah.
And it feels like this whole story is kind of it's like how do you exist in a world where you're trying to fight this empire, but the empire is everywhere. It's across
so
the
massive,
entire it's so massive. How do you begin to even what can one person even do in the face of that? And I kind of like that angle. And then there's also this like your kind of character Cal is like it really doesn't make sense for him to keep fighting at this point because it's like it's starting to get people he likes hurt, and he's realizing like it doesn't really seem to be doing anything against because but it's like how do you carry on because it's literally all he knows how to do.
That's the whole thing with like Obi-Wan, right? Where Obi-Wan was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna hide for years and years because there's no way to actually realistically fight these problems.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of this almost feels like, if I was being cynical, I guess, this feels like what I was kind of hoping Obi-Wan would be, you know, where it's like a
That's fair
self-contained
enough.
story.
Yeah,
It's kind of like what he was getting up to. Like there's going to be people dipping in and out that you'll recognize, but it's not like we're going to go on this random adventure with Leia, right?
yeah.
And then nobody ever talks about this forever again. Yeah,
Well, it's right there in the title. It's Jedi Survivor. It's a Jedi surviving during a period I think is the correct time period, but all being like hunted and stuff, right?
yeah. This is
But,
and you deal. Yeah, this is. I think it's called the Purge. I'm not sure. I'm not big
yeah,
on Star Wars, like middle bits of Star Wars.
live long and prosper and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it 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 nicely like so it's like a nice self-contained story
Yeah,
that doesn't step on too many toes, I feel like. And uh the only problem is I feel like your main character, as this feels like a middle game, your character Cal, he doesn't really have an arc in this story, and I think that's the weakest part. Is everyone
yeah,
around him, the supporting characters, they all have their own stuff going on, and it's really interesting. In the first game, you kind of assemble this little ragtag like group, and then in this game, they're all scattered, and part of the story is like, well, what happened, and how are people
yeah.
dealing with this empire basically winning in their own way, kind of thing. And it's interesting. As somebody who's just, I feel like Star Wars has been, I don't. I don't think this is contentious. Star Wars has been on a rocky road recently.
Yeah,
I feel like most of it's been bad, and then there's a couple of good, and I put this in the good pile.
it's always like
That's good.
yeah. I feel like with Star Wars, I'm always like, Star Wars is bad now. Maybe I just don't like Star Wars anymore. And then it's like, oh no, I play something like Jedi Survivor or something. I'm like, oh no, Star Wars is still really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a
yeah.
lot of it. A lot of Star Wars
It's
stuff
pretty
is
bad.
bad.
Yeah. So yeah, that without going too much into it, that's sort of the setup of the story. After last week when I said the game ran really well, obviously the intro is sort of on rails and in a kind of self-contained little level. Like it's still Coruscant, which is big, and very detailed, but once you get to you leave Coruscant and you go to this new world called Kobo, and that becomes like your hub, and you have
Yeah.
a bar there, and it's like that's almost a sort of pseudo open world level. There's story missions that happen in it that are kind of more on
Yeah.
rails, but for the most part, it kind of drops you in this map and is like just sort of Breath of the Wild's you. It just like just fuck about. I don't know, do what you
Just
want.
do what you
Go
want, yeah.
explore some caves and do some stuff. And it's crazy because there's so much side content in this game that I wasn't expecting, and all of it feels at least a little bit fleshed out. To the point where I almost feel like it's like, guys, maybe you could have cut the garden gardening space plants mini game and maybe made the game run a bit better, or like there's like so many little weird side activities, and I feel like they could have like cut half of them and then made the other half more in depth, because
Yeah.
if it's weird because I'm all here for it, right? I love a game. I think Star Wars is like this big universe that everybody loves spending time in, and everyone has their like, oh, it's my favorite lightsaber and all that stuff. So it's really cool
Yeah.
that all that stuff is like, okay, the fishing, collecting fish for my space fish tank. It's not for me, but I bet there's somebody out there who's really fucking into Star Wars
Yeah,
fish lore.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
This is the game for them.
So this is the game for them, yeah.
Finally.
And yeah. So I'm really conflicted on that, because I do feel like I spent 5 minutes. It was like, hey, you want to set up your space garden? And I was like, not really. And then I never went back.
Yeah.
So it's like, kind of wish that maybe that didn't need to be there, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
Leave
Some
it on
people
the
probably...
leave it on the cutting room floor, maybe.
Yeah,
They were saying
maybe.
how obviously this game generally has been quite well received.
Mhm.
This is apparently one of the fastest turnarounds they've had for a game like this. which I think
what, like development wise,
yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of shows, right? Despite it being, still a good game, there's a few technical issues, but also when a game's done fast, design takes time as well. If a game doesn't have as much time in design development, stuff like that.
Yes, yeah, but this is all expanded. I think what they've sort of done here is like taken things that were maybe the grounds were there in the first one. Like I think there was I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure there was like a farming part of the first one with Fallen Order.
I don't remember that. It's been a while.
I'm pretty sure I'd have to look it up, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was on your ship, and it was like, "Hey, you want to grow a pot plant for your room?" And that was it. And now here, there's a whole rooftop garden. There's characters, there's quests based upon it, which is I don't know why I'm fixated on the garden. There's loads of stuff. There's a mini auto battler in this game.
What, really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. There's every time you beat an enemy, your little robot BD1, he'll be like boop boop, and you go, oh yeah, scan it, and then it gets added to your collection of like scanned enemies in this game, and then you go back to your bar, and there's a guy who's like, you want another fight in the auto battler, and you can use any of the enemies you've killed.
That's so weird.
In this auto battler. Which is really fucking... Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing to have? But it's cool.
That's so bizarre. I hope that the game kind of runs a bit janky because of some weird design decision, like because it's always rendering auto battler assets or something like that.
They had it was like they came in and they were like, "Sir, we can cut the droidicas from the auto battler, or we can add 10 FPS." And he's like, "You fools! What are you? It's not even a question."
Get the fuck out of my office! You know the answer already. The auto battler stays. That's so weird. But saying that though, that's kind of like, oh, there's a card game in Witcher. Isn't that weird? But then it's just like everyone loves it and it's amazing.
Yeah,
kind of feels similar vibes. I feel
it is. It totally is. But again, it's one of those things where it's like the auto battler's there. But it's like and it works really well, but there's not. It's like it's over quite quick, and I'm like, I wish you'd flesh this out a little bit more because it's actually really fun, but it's kind of there's not a lot of it, and yeah, which is all the side stuff.
Get the game out.
Yeah, we're losing FPS by the second.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will. Yeah, so it started to not run as great. It was fine and it was playable on this big open hub world, but it like. There were parts where I was like, oh, you're asking for sort of precision here in this bit, and I don't think I can deliver just because I'm running at 30 FPS now, and it's
your PC is the unicorn build with a gimpy leg.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, open world. I wasn't expecting, because I think in the first game you go through a bunch of levels and then you do like return trips to previous levels, but with new powers, and then you have to do extra sections of those levels, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. Whereas this is more like you're at your bar on this hub world, you go off to another location, do a little thing there, and come back, and everyone has a chat about it, sort of thing. Which I guess I was kind of hoping this would be more planet hopping.
Right.
Without spoiling too much, there's not a crazy amount of environments and levels in this game.
Okay.
And some of them are like you're exploring this hub world, and you're like, this is ridiculous. If every location is like this game will never end. You know what I mean? Like it's huge, it's gigantic. But then you go to other places and you're like, oh, okay, these are more like little on rails video game levels than big exploration sections, which I was a bit disappointed by.
I've got to ask,
and it does like Desert Planet again, which is like, come on.
Yeah, I was
Desert Planet.
I need to ask about the combat. The first game was somewhat tricky. It was quite a hard game. I can't remember what the first game was called. How's this one? Is it like any easier? Is it still? Because people were like, "Oh, this is the Dark Souls of Star Wars games." Oh my god!
All right, Steve.
Like,
Yeah.
like that, but literally, people were
literally people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the combat in this game is my biggest letdown. It never gets really, it never gets bad. I will say, like, all the way through, I never didn't have fun with this game. But when it was putting me through these, like, especially late game, when it was putting me through these like bigger combat sections, I was like, I don't think this works the way you guys are hoping it works. It's kind of like what I kept thinking was poor man's Sekiro.
Okay.
Because it is kind of like you are rewarded for like deflections. So like, timing perfect blocks. Every guy has a poise meter, and you break the poise, and then they're like staggered, and you can get a couple of hits in. There's no like insta kills on enemies that aren't basic bitch dudes. So it's not like you're breaking their poise for a finisher. It's kind of like you break their poise and you get a couple hits in, and then they go back to trying to fight you. But everything where Sekiro was like it felt like really, really hard but really fair.
Yeah.
Where when you fucked up, it was like, oh, because I didn't deflect. I didn't read that guy's inputs correctly and stuff like that. Yeah. This is kind of like, it's just kind of wonky where it has this thing where it's like animation priority over everything, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be swinging and you'll be like, oh, I need to block, but I'm committed to this swing. Or you'll go to block and then the guy won't swing, and you'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna swing, and then he'll swing, and you'll be like, oh, fuck's sake. And it's like there's everything that hits you in this game staggers you. So it's like once you're in a room with like, say, 5 guys with like melee batons who are all trying to wail on you, and then there's like they sprinkle ranged like stormtroopers behind them, sort of thing.
It's a bit much.
And it's just, like every single thing. I'm like, okay, block, okay, block, okay, block, okay, now I'm getting shot at, okay, now this guy's going in for another swing, and I'm like, when was I supposed to get a go here? Because if anything hits you, your guy gets staggered in this like, oh, I've been shot kind of animation.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this gets really frustrating when there's like ranged mixed with melee. And then there's like, everyone has kind of powers and things, so like some of them will shoot rockets at you, which if in a perfect world you can like force grip the rocket out of the air and throw it back at them, which is like, that's rad, that's cool as hell. But when a guy is like beating on you with a stick, it's like, I don't know, I never got a chance. I don't get a chance to do anything.
Well, this is what like leads to scenarios where you end up hiding behind a pillar or something, like aggroing enemies one at a time, which is never what's originally intended. It sounds like that's whether that's like gameplay mechanics or not. It sounds just like sort of what would you call it, like encounter design. Might have needed a second go through just to be like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
This room with 5 ranged guys and 5 melee batons, is this actually fun? Like,
I feel like it's more. I don't think the encounters themselves are too bad. Like I died once, and that was because I was responding to a Discord message. On a non-boss encounter, I died exactly once.
Yeah.
So the game's not hard. It's just
a bit frustrating
because you have like you have so much healing, and your guy gets kind of tanky by the end. But it was just like, I feel like, yes, it might look a bit jank if my guy can go from a swing to a block mid, when I realize I've committed to a swing that I shouldn't have or something like that. But just like, it just feels like it's not there. It's not fluid. It's like, it wants to be Sekiro, but it doesn't have the sort of precision.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. But
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, Sekiro felt
to make
so
it work.
tight. Everything just felt so deliberate and fine-tuned to the frame.
And I will say, there's like, when you're in a boss fight and there's like, it's like one-on-one, there's like bits where I'm like, this sort of, if you squint, this is kind of like playing a Sekiro boss. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, okay, block, 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 I can get a hit in, block, 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 another hit, I can use my force power here, which is like a stronger move, but it costs you mana, your force. And I'm like, it's close. It's all right. It's not bad. It's all right.
Do you like
it?
This
never
game?
wasn't fun.
Did you like this game in the end? I'm kind of getting like mixed.
I really liked
it. Yeah, getting like mixed. Sounded like it's good, but it's just not blow your socks off incredible. It's just
No, I think generally, this is a fantastic game.
Okay.
Obviously, it's couched in like you guys. I don't think it's Tears of the Kingdom good. Like I'm not going to rave about it like you guys are enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. But if you like the first one, if you like Star Wars, and yeah, I would 100%. Because I think one thing I haven't mentioned is the platforming in this game is insane. It gives you so many mobility options that by the end it's like where it was like a poor man's Sekiro, it was kind of like a really expensive Celeste by the end.
No way.
with some of the platforming sequences. Yeah.
That's cool.
You end up with like air dashes, grapple hooks, double jumps, wall jumps, wall runs.
That's proper
and then
got my attention. That's really cool.
Then there's like gates that you go through, which what was it in Celeste? Was it like the strawberry or something? And you grab it and it resets, or no, the little cubes, and you grab it and it resets your options. So you'll be like wall run, jump, dash, go through one of these gates. Now you've got your double jump and your dash back again. And it's
I like that.
I was like, this is really fucking cool. Yeah. Which I wasn't sure, I was surprised by. I went in thinking like, oh, I want to be a Jedi, and by the end I was like, I want to do more platforming.
Yeah, I'm playing for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze by the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. I had no clue it was that in depth with its platforming.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. Hey, it's really good.
Well, I was supposed to play this a while back, and guess what arrived in the post today? It was a copy of this. So.
Oh, so at some point.
At some point, but I'm just so into Zelda now. You had your chance, Star Wars. You're too late. The post got lost.
It's not a short game either. I'll say that.
Is it not?
Even
no.
I was like, I need to finish this for podcast, so I kind of mainlined the story after a while. Yeah. And it reached what I thought was like the end. And then I checked my progress, and it was like, yeah, you're at like 60%. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. It's like another 10 hours to go or something. Fair enough.
You got any like closing thoughts, or you want to chuck it over?
The finding beards and ponchos in ancient Jedi crypts never got any less weird.
Yeah.
But what's worse as well is some little side stuff will reward you with things like skill points or max health increases or force upgrades, and other times it will just be a new type of haircut, and you can't tell until you've done it which one you're going to get. So sometimes you'll do a super difficult platforming section, get to the end, and it's like, enjoy your new pair of pants, you fucking idiot.
What is this, like emotional manipulation or some shit? Like,
it totally is.
Look at me, I'm a box. I could be a really important upgrade, or I could be absolutely pointless. Therefore, you have to do me just in case. I'm really good. That's kind of funny though. The idea of doing a really hard platforming puzzle for like 25 minutes, and then you open the box and get some handlebar mustache or something is fucking hilarious to me.
I will say, I was kind of getting into it.
Yeah.
By the end, yeah. I wasn't ever like completely sold, but sometimes I'd get like a bit of lightsaber, and I'd be like, "That's pretty." Cool.
I love the fact that it's the customization stuff. If they're gonna do that kind of thing, at least they're going kind of out there with it.
It's so you can like the grip, the bit that's going to be covered by your character's hand for 100% of the game, you can completely customize. You get that's a spoiler.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, I won't go there. It's fine.
I just the idea of just if I spent ages doing a platforming puzzle and it's just like an afro unlock or something, that's worth it to me, because I'll chuckle at it for 30 seconds, but that's hilarious.
They know as well. Yeah. They know, because it's like I did a really difficult boss fight, and I got out, and it was like, here's a poncho. It's bright pink.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Because if it's boring, if it's like, congrats for doing this hard puzzle, here's a new haircut, fucking short back and sides or something, I'd be like, oh, I don't fucking like. But if it's like, now he's got cornrows or something, or just like a big mohawk or whatever, like, I'm all for it. Just like make him look as crazy as possible.
Yeah, you totally can.
Yeah. I at first thought it was I still think it's kind of stupid, but I really thought it was pointless but now the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of like it.
What weirds me out is the main character in this is I don't know. Aaron really likes this actor because he was in a Batman show.
Yeah, he's
right?
a real dude, isn't he? He's a real man.
He's a real live, real dude. He's a real life dude.
He's a proper dude, that man.
And like I said, he's kind of I don't want to say non-character because I think by the end he kind of gets into his role. But I was playing through most of this and I was like, why didn't they let you just make your own character?
Yeah.
Because then I feel like all this customization makes perfect sense. If I'm making my Jedi, if I'm making my Obi-Wan, then it makes perfect sense. But when I'm just like, I don't want to give this guy a different haircut. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't care what he looks like.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
No, yeah. Alex and Lewis are saying he was Joker in Gotham, apparently.
Joker in Gotham. That's it. Yeah.
Because it's like, I agree. If you're going to do this much customization, just let me design him however I want. You can still do a good story with a custom character. Like Mass Effect, you have canon male Shep and femme Shep, but you can still make whatever character you want and still have a good story.
Yeah.
So just do that with this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's very powy in this. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of brooding. It's kind of, didn't sell me on it.
But yeah, so solid middle entry to what I assume will be a trilogy then.
I would be shocked. This game apparently has also sold very well, so I would be shocked if EA is not already like, all right, boys, let's do it again. Let's see it. Let's see the third one.
So based on what you know of this story, you finished this. No context. Guess the name of the next one. Star Wars Jedi something.
Oh, Star Wars Jedi. It would have to be Rising Revengeance. Yeah. Revolution. No, I don't know. Oh, maybe. Actually.
Yeah. Star Wars Jedi Revolution.
I'm going to guess Star Wars Jedi Extinction.
That'd be sad. That's a sad ending to the trilogy.
That would be pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it starts, and then you
rise up or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, the worst part is knowing this all dovetails eventually into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything I'm doing, even though it's years in the future,
what's the fucking point?
It doesn't matter. And I'm like, what's the point? Eventually, Palpatine has returned.
All of this leads up to the.
What is it?
All of this leads up to the dagger shaped like a broken Star Destroyer.
Exactly.
And a cube. I think some weird hypercube shit. I can't remember that movie. Movie sucks.
Of my mind. I couldn't drop it. Yeah.
So Palpatine, final boss of the third game to cap it off.
I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
This game canonically will explain how Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most important piece of Star Wars fiction will be Star Wars Jedi Revolution, starring everyone's favorite space wizard Palpatine.
Yeah.